Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome on in. Today, we're reacting to Jayce, the Defender of Tomorrow. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at his biography and story. We'll move on to his gameplay abilities, take a look at any cinematics Jayce is a part of. We'll move on to the skins, the wiki, and the voice lines near the end of the video. I'll have everything chaptered out if you're looking for a specific part in the video. But, of course, I'd love for you guys to be here for the entire thing. All right, everybody. Of course, we know a lot about Jayce because of Arcade, okay? So I'm interested in, obviously, different things that are going to occur in maybe the biography and story that we don't know about, or to see like some of the other nuances about Jayce that wasn't, shown in the show. Although I feel like we do learn a lot about Jayce in the show, so I'm not quite sure what we're gonna get. The other aspect of it is, just seeing Jayce in the actual game of League of Legends will be a fun little like adventure here. And then of course like skins and the voice lines and stuff. So, all right, everybody, go ahead and grab yourself a snack, grab a drink. Let's dive into this reaction to Jayce. Starting off, our quote says, "Picking a fight with me is the dumbest thing you've done today," and that's saying a lot. Okay, we got that Jayce sass going on here. I see. Role is fighter, region Piltover. Our related champions are Ezreal, Camille, Caitlyn, Vi, Victor, and Skarner. That Skarner one seems wrong. Skarner right there. Seems wrong, seems odd, seems like old lore. Yeah, it's definitely old lore that Skarner's here, right? Because I remember I didn't actually get to learn about old Skarner lore. I only learned about the new Skarner lore, but yeah, I believe it's old related. Okay, paragraph says, "Jayce Tallis is a brilliant inventor who, along with his friend Victor, made the first great discoveries in the field of hex tech. Celebrated across Piltover, he tries to live up to his reputation as the man of progress, but often struggles with the expectations placed upon him. Because of this, Jayce has begun to see the ways in which his invention has furthered the division between Piltover and Zaun, and armed with his hex tech hammer, he stands ready to defend tomorrow." I feel like that paragraph was updated. Definitely feels like a more recent update to his paragraph. But let me know if that paragraph was honestly there before Arcane even came out. I'd love to know. All right, everybody, let's just dive right into the biography. I'm curious what we're gonna have. All right, everybody. You're going to ignore the fact that I'm in different clothes because it doesn't matter. Just deal with it, okay? We're reading the biography, The Defender of Tomorrow. Here we go. Jayce is a brilliant inventor who has pledged his life to the defense of Piltover and its unyielding pursuit of progress. With his transforming hextech hammer in hand, Jayce uses his strength, courage, and considerable intelligence to protect his hometown. While revered throughout the city as a hero, he hasn't taken well to the attention it brings. Still, Jayce's heart is in the right place, and even those who envy his natural skills are grateful for his protection in the city of progress. This holds him up as like some crazy hero, which like in the show, he's like, I don't know, he's not like this per se, but maybe a little. A native son of Piltover, Jayce was raised to believe in the principles that made the city great. Invention, discovery, not going to Zaun if you could help it. Whoa. With a knack for understanding machinery, Jayce earned the honor of being the youngest apprentice to ever be offered patronage by Clan Geopara, one of Piltover's most respected ruling clans. Utterly unsurprised, Jayce took the offer and spent most of his early years constructing potential hextech devices and designing transformable multi-tools for Piltover's working class. A wrench that transformed into a pry bar, a pickaxe that could morph into a shovel, a hammer that could turn into a demolition beam if only it had a sufficiently powerful battery. Everything Jayce touched put his contemporaries to shame. Okay, so off the bat, I can already tell this is different lore. This is like old lore. It's fine. We're gonna read it. It seems like what they did is they took like pieces of this lore for the Arcane show. Most things came easy to Jayce, and he could never understand why his peers had so much trouble with what, to him, were simple concepts. As a result, I mean, me too, right? Like, oh my gosh, you guys in these simple concepts, what are you doing? It's not that hard. I'm kidding. As a result, nearly everyone who worked alongside Jayce found him arrogant and dismissive and unwilling to slow his pace to help his colleagues catch up. As time went on, his patience became shorter, while at the same time, a chasm grew between decorum, charm, and Jayce's natural demeanor. I mean, that kind of happens. Only one person ever managed to match Jayce's intelligence while also maintaining a healthy indifference to his superior attitude. His name was Victor. Okay. The two met at a mandatory Progress Day party and immediately bonded over how little either of them wanted to be there. They started working together shortly after. Victor expanded Jayce's intellectual horizons and challenged many of his assumptions. While Jayce sought to improve humanity via versatile technology, Victor sought to solve problems inherent to humanity itself, such as physical decay or illogical prejudices. They constantly argued with one another, but their conflicts never got personal. Though their methods were different, the two colleagues knew their ultimate goals were very much the same. More than that, they both knew what it was like to be ostracized by their colleagues. Victor because of his unconventional thinking, Jayce because of his rudeness. Yeah, they really they kept a lot of this, but they clearly changed some things. Together, Jayce and Victor invented a mechanized construction suit for Piltover's dock workers, something hardy enough to enhance the wearer's strength, but light enough that its wearer wouldn't immediately drown upon falling overboard. However, the two reached an impasse when Victor's design for the next version of the suit included a chemtech implant that would increase the wearer's strength output by tenfold, while also preventing them from getting tired, panicking, or disobeying instructions from their superiors. Ooh, okay, this is definitely different. While Victor considered this feature a brilliant means of reducing the frequency of construction accidents, Jayce found its indifference toward free will immoral, and I agree. The two nearly came to blows over the design, and ultimately, after Jayce warned the Academy of Victor's invention, Victor was stripped of his honors and ostracized from Piltover's scientific community. Victor was the closest thing Jayce had ever really had to a friend, and distraught over their falling out, went back to working on his own. He grew more insular, his patience toward others grew even thinner. I guess Caitlyn is just like not his friend. I mean, it's a friend in a different sense, but I think I consider Caitlyn his friend. As Jayce studied in solitude, Clan Geopara's explorers discovered a raw blue crystal deep within the Shuriman Desert. Though Jayce volunteered to experiment on it, specifically by suggesting the clan's other scholars wouldn't be smart enough to get anything out of it, his lack of tact in doing so prompted Clan Geopara to give it to their better-mannered scholars as a form of punishment. Yet after many months, the scholars reached a unanimous conclusion: the crystal was worthless. A power-drained hunk of rock, the disappointed clan leaders finally handed the crystal over to Jayce, assuming that even he, with his remarkable intelligence, wouldn't be able to learn anything from it. Something inside the crystal called to Jayce. No more than that, it sang to him. He couldn't explain why, but he knew the Shuriman gem still held mysteries yet to be discovered. Yeah, okay. Basically what we're seeing here, and that I kind of like, is we're basically seeing like the rough draft to the beginning of Jayce in Arcane, in the sense that like they read this story or this biography and they were like, okay, let's take the good aspects of it and just change some things here and there and make it cohesive with the rest of our characters and the world that we're building in Piltover and Zaun. So you really see that here. He spent many months running every variety of test on the crystal. He braced it into a cogwheel centrifuge. He superheated it and deep froze it. He tinkered and observed and hypothesized and beat his head against his copper pantograph. Quite simply, Jayce wasn't used to working hard. This damned crystal was the first thing he had ever resisted his considerable mental aptitude. Okay. For the first time, he realized how his peers must have felt, trying so hard to solve a problem only to bump against your own limitations. It felt frustrating. It felt unfair. And it probably felt much worse if you were working alongside an arrogant inventor who dismissed your every effort. Jayce realized that despite how dismissive he'd been toward his fellow scholars, none of them ever gave up. None of them ever stopped seeking the very things that defined Piltover: progress, discovery. If they wouldn't give up, Jayce decided he wouldn't either. And maybe he tried to be nicer. Maybe. Okay, they're really honing in on the fact that Jayce isn't a very nice person. Jayce approached the problem from a completely different angle. Rather than trying to experiment on the crystal as a whole, he wondered, why not run more invasive experiments on a smaller shard? Jayce chiseled off a piece of the crystal and suspended it in liquid alloy. As he sent a voltaic current through the liquid metal, Jayce's eardrums nearly shattered from the booming baritone note that blasted from the shard. Heat radiated from the crystal, and with a flash it glowed bright enough to nearly blind him. This was unexpected. This was potentially dangerous, but this was progress. Jayce couldn't erase the smile from his face as he worked well through the night into the dawn. The next day, Jayce was surprised to find his old friend Victor on his doorstep. Alerted by the massive power spike from the crystal shard, Victor had a simple proposition. Since his expulsion from the Piltovan scientific community, Victor had commenced work on a secret project in Zaun. He finally learned how to achieve his dream, how to eradicate his disease, hunger, and hatred. If Jayce joined him, the two would accomplish more than anyone from Piltover or Zaun could have dreamed of. They'd save humanity from itself. So yeah, they had this like big Jayce Victor thing where like Jayce was like trying to fix Piltover, Victor's trying to fix Zaun, or like both. And then like if they could have agreed together, they could have like helped everybody, but it obviously doesn't end up that way. Jayce had heard a monologue like this before from Victor. He never liked where it led. Victor told Jayce that he only needed one thing for his glorious evolution: a power source like Jayce's crystal. Jayce disagreed, informing Victor that what he truly needed was a moral compass. Damn. Victor, who had long grown tired of Jayce's rudeness, leapt upon him, grabbed the crystal, and knocked Jayce unconscious with it. When Jayce awoke hours later, he noticed that though the Shuriman crystal was gone, Victor hadn't seemed to notice or care about the smaller shard. Jayce knew whatever Victor was planning, he would only resort to these measures if he were close to completion. Even though he didn't know what Victor's glorious evolution consisted of, it probably didn't have a lot of respect for the free will of others. See, like, that's like kind of what happens in Arcane too, right? Like the whole free will of others kind of thing. And yeah, without wasting a second, Jayce retrieved the suspended shard and installed it into a massive transforming hammer, a demolitions invention he'd abandoned years ago for a lack of strong enough battery to power it. Though he had no idea where Victor might have taken the crystal, he could feel the hextech hammer vibrate, pulling him not north, south, east, or west, but down toward the Undercity of Dawn. The shard, eager to be reunited with the crystal from which it was chiseled. Oh, okay, so this is interesting about his hammer. The shard inside of it wants to be reunited with the bigger part, which it was chiseled, eventually led Jayce to a warehouse in the depths of the sump. Within the cavernous building, Jayce found something horrifying. Dozens of corpses, their skulls sawed open and hollowed out, their brains transplanted into an army of immobile metal soldiers hooked up to the now pulsing crystal. This was the first step in Victor's glorious evolution. See, and then they took that too with the whole, people that he ends up having an army of at the end. Jayce's stride grew less confident as he approached Victor. He and Victor had not always seen eye to eye, but this was something else entirely. For the first time, it occurred to Jayce that he might have to kill his old friend. He called out to Victor, flinching as the army of robots stood to attention. Jayce asked him to look around to see what he was doing. Whatever this was, this evolution wasn't the progress they sought for in their youths. He, even to Victor's surprise, apologized for acting like such a jerk. Victor sighed. He had only 2 words in response: kill him. Dang. Okay. The automaton sprinted toward Jayce, breaking free of the wires connecting them to the crystal and introducing Jayce to another new emotion: panic. He gripped the hammer tight, realizing he'd never actually used it before. Are you telling me this man has never panicked in his life? Okay. Talk about privilege, Jayce. When the first golem was within reach, he swung as hard as he could, feeling the shard's energy surge through his muscles, accelerating the hammer's movement until Jayce was worried it might fly out of his hands. It slammed into the automaton, all but exploding it into a hail of metal. See, this would have been a cool cinematic. Obviously, it doesn't matter now, but still. Despite the obliteration of their comrade, the other machines didn't even pause as they rushed at Jayce, trying to pummel him into unconsciousness. Jayce analyzed the formation of the mechanical wave coming at him and attempted to quickly calculate how to take out the largest number of them with the fewest amount of swings. It was pointless. They were on him before he could swing even once. As he fell to the ground under a storm of their blows, Jayce saw Victor looking on, not with triumph, but with sadness. He had outsmarted Jayce and ensured humanity's future, but he knew that future came at a cost. He couldn't let his old friend live. Jayce vanished under a sea of swinging metal limbs. That's when Jayce, for the first time in his life, decided to stop thinking and just break stuff. No longer caring for his... You know what? He almost has this kind of in, I think it's like episode 7 or 8 of season 1. Basically, he kind of has that decision. He gets angry, and then that's when him and Vi go and just decide to do what they do. No longer caring for his own safety, Jayce used every last bit of strength he had to break free from Victor's automatons. He sprinted to the glowing crystal and struck it with all of the Hextech-enhanced force his hammer could muster, crushing the mystical object. Victor cried out in horror as the crystal shattered to fragments, the shockwave blasting them all backward as the army of automatons collapsed lifelessly to the floor. The very foundations of the warehouse shook, and Jayce barely managed to escape before the entire building toppled. Victor's body was never found. Upon his return to Piltover, Jayce informed his clan masters of Victor's nefarious plans. Soon, Jayce found himself a topic of discussion in both Zaun and Piltover alike. Hailed for his quick thinking in a time of crisis, Jayce became a beloved figure, at least amongst those who hadn't met him, earning himself a nickname, the Defender of Tomorrow. Okay, there it is. Jayce cared little for the adoration of his fellow Piltovans, but took the nickname to heart. He knew that Victor was still out there plotting his revenge. One day, maybe someday soon, an awful lot of trouble was headed for Piltover, and Jayce would be waiting. All right, I mean, this was a fun read. It's obviously the old lore, but I think at this point, basically Riot has said they're not really focusing on biographies and stories any longer. Like, they're gonna do that initial page that we took a look at, but I don't think they're doing like these anymore, which is unfortunate. But they're gonna be working more with like, I don't know, just other stuff besides story and the written biography. I think these are really good, but I think the reason why maybe they're holding back on these is because once they have these written, it's kind of like set in stone. I don't know. It's like anything they do lore-wise is going to be set in stone, and then if you end up changing your character later, regardless of what medium it is, it's going to be outdated. So like, at least with something like this, you could replace it, and you could replace the biography, but they didn't do that. I think with Victor, they did, right? Like, they updated his page and everything and made it a little, well, I don't think the biography and story were updated, to be honest. But yeah. All right, moving on. All right, let's continue on. We have the story called A Quick Fix. Any fool could have predicted that Victor would strike back at some point. If one weren't a fool, one might predict the exact date and time of an attempted counterattack. Jayce was not a fool. He stood in his workshop, bathed in sun rays from his skylight, surrounded by dozens of artifacts of his own genius. Gearwork boots that could cling to any surface, a knapsack with articulated limbs that always kept the user's tools within easy reach. Greater than all these inventions, however, was the weapon that Jayce now held in his hands. Powered by a Shuriman shard, Jayce's transforming Hextech Great Hammer was renowned throughout Piltover, but he tossed it from hand to hand as if any other tool from his workshop. These sharp taps echoed from Jayce's door. They were here. Jayce had prepared for this. He'd run experiments on Victor's discarded automata. He'd intercepted the mechanical communications. Any second, they'd beat down his front door and try to rip away his Hextech hammer. After that, they'd try to do the same with his skull, try being the operative word. He flicked a switch on the hammer's handle. With an energetic sizzle, the head of Jayce's masterpiece transformed into a Hextech high-tech blaster. He took aim, stood his ground, watched the door open, his finger tightened on the trigger, and he almost blasted a 7-year-old girl's head off. Well, that kind of goes in line with the end of season 1 of Arcane. I mean, Jayce does kill a little kid, really, don't we? I mean, we remember that, right? Right, guys? Okay, she was tiny and blonde and would have seemed adorable to anyone who wasn't Jayce. The girl pushed the door open and walked in with shuffling, tentative steps. Her ponytail swished to and fro as she approached Jayce. She kept her head down, ever avoiding his gaze. He had 2 hypotheses regarding why she might refuse eye contact. She was hugely impressed to be in the presence of someone so acclaimed. Okay, Jayce. Or she was working for Victor and about to surprise him with a chem bomb. Her blushing indicated it was likely the former. My soldier broke, she said, proffering a limp metal knight, its arm bent backward at a perverse angle. Jayce didn't move. Please leave or you'll probably die. The child stared at him. Also, I don't fix dolls. Find somebody with more time on their hands. Wow, Jayce is just, he's kind of mean. Tears began to well up in her eyes. I don't have any money for an artificer and my ma, she said, stifling a sob. Mother made him for me before she passed. And Jayce furrowed his brow and for the first time in quite a while blinked. If it's so precious to you, why did you break it? Oh my God, Jayce. I didn't mean to. I took him to the Progress Day feast and somebody bumped into me and I dropped him and I know I should have just left him at home. Yes, you should have. That was stupid of you. The girl opened her mouth to speak, then stopped herself. Jayce had seen this kind of reaction before. Most everyone he met had heard the stories of his legendary hammer and his unyielding heroism. They expected grandeur. They expected humility. They expected him to not be a massive jerk. Jayce inevitably disappointed them. What is wrong with you? She asked. Whoa. Okay, hey, yes. Most facets of my personality, so I've been told, he replied without hesitation. The child furrowed her brow. She shoved the broken doll into his face. Fix it, please. You'll just break it again. I won't. Look, he said, little girl, I'm very busy, and something flitted across the skylight, casting a quick shadow on the 2 of them. Anyone else would have assumed it was nothing more than a falcon passing overhead. Jayce knew better. He fell silent. A wry smile spread across his face as he yanked the girl toward his workbench. The thing is, he said, machines are very simple. He lifted a large, thin sheet of bronze and began to hammer its corners with sharp taps. They're made of discrete parts. They combine and recombine in clear, predictable ways. He beat the sheet over and over until it took the form of a smooth dome. People are more complicated. They're emotional, they're unpredictable, and in nearly every case, they're not as smart as me, he said, drilling a clean hole into the top of the dome. Now, usually that's a problem, but sometimes their stupidity works in my favor. Okay, yes, what Jayce is saying here is very egotistical, but he is right on some points. People are very complicated. They are emotional, they're unpredictable, and Jayce is known to be a very smart individual, so he's kind of not wrong in saying in nearly every case they might not be as smart as him. So yeah, and obviously they're going back here with saying, you know, he knows how this thin sheet of bronze is going to work. It's going to work the same way each time, but people don't, right? Because they're emotional and unpredictable. I like that idea that I'm getting of Jayce here, because they don't really hone in onto this aspect in Arcane of like his idea of like not really being attuned to people, but more attuned to like his work and everything a little bit more. But yeah, is this still about my doll? Or sometimes they're so insecure in their inferiority, they so desperate to take their revenge that they make a foolish mistake. He grabbed a shining copper rod and screwed it into the corner of the dome. Sometimes people fail to protect their most precious assets, he said, nodding at her tin soldier before holding aloft the newly formed metal umbrella. And sometimes that means instead of assaulting my workshop through the more obvious front door, they try to take. He looked upward, the more dramatic approach. He handed her the umbrella, which took all of her meager strength to keep aloft. Hold this, don't move. She opened her mouth to respond, only to yelp in surprise as the skylight shattered above her. Glass bounced off the makeshift umbrella like rain as a half-dozen men leapt down to the floor. Tubes of bright green chems protruded from the base of their necks, connecting to their limbs. Their eyes were dead, their faces emotionless. They were definitely Victor's boys. All right, drugged punks from Zaun's sump level whom Victor had pumped full of hallucinogens and hypnotics. Chem-stunted thugs who would follow Victor's every whim, whether they wanted to or not. Jayce had been expecting to see automatons, but Victor likely wouldn't have gotten so many through Piltover unnoticed. Still, these chem slaves were just as much of a danger. They turned toward Jayce and the girl. Before they reached the pair, however, Jayce's Hextech blaster exploded with voltaic energy. An orb of Hextech's powered lightning shot out of its core and detonated in the middle of the group. The chem slaves slammed into the workshop's immaculate walls. So much for the element of surprise, huh, Victor? A hulking brute of a machine leapt down amongst the pile of unconscious chem slaves. It looked, Jayce thought, like a cross between a minotaur and a very angry building. Watch out, the girl yelped. Jayce rolled his eyes. I am watching him. Stop panicking. I have the situation. Well, and ow, he said, interrupted as the metal beast rammed him in the chest. The beast sent Jayce hurtling backward. He landed on a rolling cart, his back cracking from the impact. Grunting, he pulled himself to his feet as the beast charged again. That's the last time you touch me, he said. Jayce swung his Hextech weapon as hard as he could, transforming it back into a hammer mid-swing. The Minotaur lowered its head to ram Jayce again, foolishly ignoring the weapon's arc. The hammer found its mark with a resounding crunch. The Minotaur, its head caved all the way back into its metal neck, collapsed to the floor. A cloud of escaping steam hissed from its carcass. Jayce pulled back the hammer again, readying for another attack. He watched the skylight. A few minutes passed. Soon enough, he seemed satisfied the assault was over. He tried to step back toward his workbench, only to double over in pain, grasping at his stomach. The girl rushed to his side. Still hurts where he tackled you, huh? Obviously. Then maybe you shouldn't have let him, she said. That was stupid of you. Jayce raised an eyebrow at the kid. Her eyes widened, unsure if she'd crossed a line. A slow smile crept across his face. What was your name? Amaranthine. Jayce sat at his workbench and grabbed a screwdriver. Give me the doll, Amaranthine, he said. A massive grin broke out on her face. So you can fix it? Jayce smirked at her. There's nothing I can't fix. Okay, so I think what we can take from this story, you can see where they obviously took elements of his personality and imported it into Arcane. But it's toned down a little bit. We do get Jayce being a bit of a jerk, right? Definitely we get Jayce being a jerk a lot in the show. But I don't think it's as far as he's being mean to little girls like this. He is mean to people in the show for sure. But we never actually see him be mean to a little child. I guess unless we want to count season 1 when he finally gets his hammer and that whole incident happens with him and Vi down in Zod. But yeah, other than that, I think they really just use this story, if they even use it at all, just as an idea of his personality and diving more into it. All right, now we're going to take a look at Jayce's ability. So medium difficulty, role is fighter marksman. Now I've seen him a little bit from TFT, I've seen obviously in Arcane as well, but let's actually look at the real in-game abilities here. So the passive is when Jayce swaps weapons, he gains move speed for a short duration. So between ranged and melee, yeah? Okay, that seems pretty, I guess that makes sense just because he's swapping weapons. I guess I'm assuming there's a cooldown or something between swapping weapons, I would imagine. Okay, so we're gonna have two different abilities based on if he's in melee or if he's on range. So we have To the Skies and Shock Blast. So that's what I'm seeing there. Hammer Stance leaps to an enemy, dealing physical damage and slowing enemies. Cannon Stance fires an orb of electricity that detonates upon hitting an enemy or reaching the end of its path, dealing physical damage to all enemies hit. Now, I guess my immediate question is going to be for Jayce players. How often are we spending time in Hammer Stance? How often are we spending time in Cannon Stance? Obviously, it's going to be situational. I understand that. But, statistics wise, I'm sure there's a stance that you guys are in more often than not. Next one is Lightning Field and Hypercharge. Okay. Passive, or the Hammer Stance passive says restores mana per strike. Active creates a field of lightning damaging nearby enemies for several seconds. The video is only showing us the Cannon Stance, it seems. And then Cannon Stance, it says gains a burst of energy, increasing attack speed to maximum for several attacks. Okay, so increasing the attack speed. Next one up is Thundering Blow and Acceleration Gate. Wait, what? He literally puts up an acceleration gate? Okay. Hammer Stance deals magic damage to an enemy and knocks him back a short distance. Cannon Stance deploys an acceleration gate, increasing the move speed of all allied champions who pass through it. That seems really cool, actually. And then if Shock Blast is fired through the gate, the missile speed, range, and damage will increase. That seems really cool. That's definitely a super support ability for your team. And I feel like that gate could be pretty useful. All right. Our ultimate is Mercury Cannon or Mercury Hammer. Let me watch it first. Okay, it powers him up. There's the hammer. And what about the cannon version? Are they gonna show me both? Yes. Okay. I feel like there's not much going on with his animation there for his ultimate, I'll be honest. It's a little Thor-like, I guess, with the hammer one. Okay, so transforms the Mercury Hammer into the Mercury Cannon, gaining new abilities and increased range. The first attack in this form reduces the target's armor and magic resist. Cannon Stance transforms the Mercury Cannon into the Mercury Hammer, gaining new abilities and increasing armor and magic resist. The first attack in this form deals additional magic damage. So just more magic damage, more, getting rid of magic resist and armor resist on the enemy. Understood. Okay, so he feels kind of weird to me. I'm going to be totally honest. And I know it says, I know you guys always tell me take this with a grain of salt, the difficulty being medium, but I feel like anytime a character has stances in general, when you have multiple stances for a character, that just adds to the difficulty of the character. I'll be honest, based on what I'm seeing here, maybe I'm just not, obviously playing the character way different. But from an outsider's perspective, he doesn't look that crazy fun to me. But maybe that's just because of the role. I don't know. I don't know what role role he plays. They have him in the top lane here. I don't know if he's a top lane or anything like that. That's just what this is showing. But I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't truly know what kind of play style Jayce has. And honestly, he looks okay. Like, he doesn't look like a terrible character, but you guys will definitely have to let me know, like, meta-wise, how is Jayce in current today's meta? And also, how is Jayce, of course, when he first came out compared to, you know, now? It's always interesting to know how far, like, a character has, like, either fallen off or they've just gotten better over time, things like that. Was there ever, like, a Jayce meta where Jayce was so OP at one season, right? So let me know that kind of stuff. I'd be super interested to hear it. But as of right now, I don't think he looks all that great. But we do have a Wild Rift video to actually take a look at Jayce, so we can get a little bit more in depth with the abilities. All right, let's dive right into it. Here we go. 2 minutes. Oh, goodness, it's loud. Okay. Okay, I mean, maybe the video wasn't really helping him out because I feel like this is helping him out quite a bit.
Strike through progress.
So this is the ult. We're just going right into the ult. Gain armor and magic resist, and then obviously, yeah. Okay. Yeah, power next attack. Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess he seems not... He seems better based on this Wild Rift video from like 4 years ago, but... Oh, there we go. We didn't get to see To the Skies. That seems like a cool ability. Oh, yeah, that leap is real good. Okay, okay. I feel like obviously him being melee and range can be pretty good. I feel like I underestimated that as well. There's the lightning field I didn't get to see from the champion page. And then swing hammer at target. Okay, there's the thundering blow that knocks him back. Okay. Okay, no, you know what? Jayce does seem very versatile. That would make sense, right? And then that acceleration gate for your allies seems really good in my opinion. Even though, I mean, okay, it seems pretty good. Let's not say it's really good, but being able to give a speed boost to your team seems cool. Yeah, very versatile character, but when a character is like so versatile like this,
I'm gonna enjoy this.
Sometimes it can be better to like choose a champion that is just like an expert in one of the, you know, in melee or in range or something, right? Sometimes being so versatile in something means you're a little lackluster overall and everything as well. But okay, you guys let me know. This video did make him seem quite a bit better than, you know, just looking at the champion page. And he does actually look a lot more fun from this Wild Rift video as well. So let me know how Jayce is in today's meta. All right, moving right along. I have seen this trailer. It is called Target Practice. It was basically a Caitlyn and Jayce champion trailer for Wild Rift. I watched it for Caitlyn specifically, I believe, or I think I watched it when I was just going through a bunch of trailers for League of Legends, but let's give it another rewatch. Maybe this is a refresher for you as well. So let's go ahead and watch. I think it's like a little competition between them, right? I mean, Caitlyn would win that. Thinking of Jayce and Caitlyn, it is a little bit of an interesting relationship. In like the show, it made it kind of seem like Jayce had a crush on Caitlyn-ish. But I think it's more just like they're childhood friends, and then obviously Caitlyn doesn't, obviously she swings Vi's way, right? Not the backward shooting. Yeah, it's just like a little friendly competition. I would say, is that just Jayce blowing them all up? Not them both just being pleased with destruction. Ah. Okay, and then they're working together. Oh. Okay, Jayce. Jayce caring a little bit more about target practice than the actual scene behind them. I mean, that's a really fun little trailer. You get to see their personalities. Oh, look. Caitlyn had 18. Jayce had 17. I like the little cupcake icon too for Caitlyn. Yeah, okay, so obviously there you go. You can even just get a little bit of their personalities from this. Although Caitlyn in the show, actually Caitlyn and Jayce in the show are quite a bit more complex than this. This is just kind of showing their fun sides a little bit, I think. You know, probably before all the trauma of the Arcane show. All right, let's move it along. I hope you guys enjoyed that, a little trailer. Okay, next up, we actually have a login screen. It's been a very long time since I've had a login screen to take a look at. It's only a minute long. I'm not expecting anything crazy, but let's give it a listen. Here we go. Piltover stuff. Piltover kind of song, I imagine. Defender of Tomorrow kind of song, so maybe heroic sounding. Whoa. Not the Inception. Brrr. Okay. It's got a lot of layers to it. I like the way it's building. But it's not going to go much further. There's like 20 seconds left. Yeah, that's it. Well, give me one more burn. Oh, it needed one more burn at the end there, I think. It truly did. Okay, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it other than, I mean, it's pretty well done realistically. Like on the fly, like you can just come up with something like this. I think it had a lot of layers to it. I liked how fast paced it was. I liked the Inception little horn there. I just think it needed one more there at the end. That's it, really. I think it's fine. I think it works just fine for Jayce. If we were to see, you know, them do an actual champion theme for Jayce nowadays, I would just expect maybe the same thing, just a little bit more, you know, in depth and like 3 minutes long. All right, everybody, let's dive into the skins for Jayce next. You know, about a decent amount of skins, about the usual amount. We're going to be starting off with the Arcane Survivor Jayce, which I think I really enjoyed that look in Arcane itself. So let's dive right into it. Here we go. Starting off with his recall. Ooh, oh, that's really cool. Ooh, I like all the glitching. Really love how they did the glitching there in game. And then here, I'm going to pause on the splash art. I think this is a really sick splash art. Really love that. I love like all the glitchy effects and stuff in the show. All right. Oh, and the hammer's glitching right now. When he was like standing still, that's pretty cool. And then you can see when he's like attacking that like kind of look from the show as well. Ooh, the sound effect there was good. Oh yeah, I think Arcane Survivor Jayce is real solid. I wonder if there's another Arcane Jayce. I'm not going to take a look, I guess, but I assume they might have made 2 different skins for Jayce.
Not just science, solutions.
Yeah, I'm really liking all the sound effects and the actual like visual effects for it. Oh, that's cool. Okay. What else we got? Let's move it forward a little bit. Okay, we got some death animations. Oh, he got into the... Oh, yup, and then he freezes up like in the show. Okay. It's pretty cool. The respawn effect is awesome.
Truth over theories.
Oh, the running is interesting. It's okay. I mean, I don't mind it.
How many Piltovans does it take to fix fate? A lot.
Oh, interesting. Like the hammer was like breaking and then he just like fixes it.
Every threat is dealt with.
Okay, Jayce. Cool, we got a lot. Okay, Jayce, I didn't know you moved like that. My. I mean, that's pretty good balance for the hammer to be like that. Oh, not the sad sigh at the end. Oh, okay, we do have Arcane Jayce, just regular Arcane from like season 1.
I'm gonna enjoy this.
He's much happier in that splash art. I feel like it's a little bit more on the basic side. They basically just gave him the Arcane outfit. I'm not sure about the effects because I actually don't know how the effects are for original Jayce. I mean, sort of I do, I guess, but... Like that very well could just be the regular effects.
Never look back.
The hammer looks nice. Do enjoy that. Energize. All right, let me see if they have a recall. I mean, what the recall is for this. Ooh, okay, okay. Okay, Jayce. Not bad. Again, I don't know if that's like the original or not. What do we have here? Oh, T1 Jayce. Ooh, I like the T1 splash art here. I don't know if I've seen that splash art before. I feel like I would have. Okay, so T1. I like the color of the hammer. I like the design of that hammer for the T1 skin more than the Jayce, or I mean the Arcane skin. Not Arcane Survivor, but the regular Arcane. I'm liking the colors as well. Oh yeah, I think comparing it to the Arcane Survivor one, this one's a little bit better. Obviously, you can see that with, you know, just because it's a little bit more RP doesn't necessarily mean it's better looking, but
I'm always ready.
It does seem that way. Okay, let's move straight on to the recall because that looks good. I like the colors, like this bluish red together, like pink. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, and then the signature at the... Okay, that was a really cool recall. I loved that. And then we have a prestige version of T1 Jayce. Oh, even cooler. Even cooler. Look at that hammer. It's giving... Hold on. You know what it's actually kind of giving? It's giving... they added some KDA effects to Jayce. Because I feel like the hammer and then the shoulder pauldron is very like KDA. I don't know. It's just like kind of the same style. It's what it is to me. Tell me I'm wrong, though. Okay, so we switched up the colors, of course, to go more in line with the hammer and Jayce's outfit. I think it's pretty good. Let's move on straight to the recall, see if it's any different. I imagine it'll probably be the same. That recall is really good. Maybe just a different color. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. And then the symbols here are quite a bit different, too. Cool. The shades? Did he put shades on last time? Hold on, I have to check. Does he put shades on at the end in this one? He did. I didn't even notice that. That's so funny. Okay, what do we have now? Zenith Games. Zenith Games? I don't know if I've seen a Zenith Games one. So it's kind of like... Okay, it's got like some grid-like effects.
I'm always ready.
I almost went to like... I mean, it's giving like he's in an arcade game, basically. For some reason, my mind went to Tron, but it's not very Tron-like per se. But you can see like the grid or like the pixels, basically. That's like the effect it's going for. It's very like video gamey, which is, I mean, it's cool. Ooh, I like the sound effect. It's like a little like plasma gun shooting. Something you might hear in like Halo or something. I'm actually genuinely surprised by this Zenith Games Jayce. I haven't seen a Zenith Games skin before. I like the orange and like aqua green, aqua blue, whatever colors together. Oh yeah, here we go. And you got like a little score for the target practice. Very nice. Very cool one. Okay, up next is Resistance Jayce is next. Okay. It's given like maybe Terminator a little. Not the blonde hair. He's got like the, do you know the Fortnite, the main Fortnite character's hair? I don't know Fortnite lore, guys, but you know what? I'll put a picture up. He's got that hair, I feel like. Maybe he's giving like, okay, the jacket's giving like Punisher a little bit, but. Okay, the hammer's interesting. We're going obviously with the black and red theme. A little bit of like a green here though as well. Kind of like army-ish. All right, let's move it along. It's got definitely like a futuristic. That's why I said like Terminator almost. Like a future. It's got like a futuristic look to it for sure. All right, what do we got? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, and he's standing on top of the head of a robot and got a little flag. Oh, for sure. Okay. Oh, I like the hammer. I just realized that it looks like heads of the hammer. Battle Academia Jayce. Oh, of course, of course. I feel like he'd be like the popular jock in school. That's the vibe that I get from Jayce for Battle Academia. How do I feel about the hammer in this one? It's okay. The effects are giving like electro. Ooh, I like the visual effect there though. It's very comic booky, which is pretty good. Okay, sound effects are good. Let's move it up a little bit. Okay, pretty neat. Okay, recall. More target practice. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Pretty good. All right, what else do we have? Oh, we got more. Oh, he's riding it like a broom. That's crazy. Well, not exactly like a broom. More like a skateboard or surfboard, I guess. It looks like a broom, though. All right, Jayce Brighthammer. Okay, he's like a paladin or something. That's what that's going to feel like to me. Yeah, like Jayce Brighthammer is such a paladin World of Warcraft name or like D&D name. And I feel like they gave him more traditional, like, yeah, like he's got like greaves on and shoulder pauldrons that are more traditional. The hammer is quite a bit different. And then he's got this like, I don't even know what you want to call this on his back, like a halo on his back, I guess. That's pretty cool, actually. I like that floating effect there for him. All right, let's move it along. The sound effects and visual effects are just okay to me. Very basic. These actually might be his basic... These might be his basic things, besides the hammer looking different in his outfit. All right, recall. I'm going to go with this as his original recall, which it's dare I say, kind of bad. I mean, Jayce is an old character, so I get it. Forsaken Jayce. Is this basically just the opposite of Jayce Brighthammer? I feel like that's what it's giving. It's giving like Dark Paladin or like just evil character. I mean, okay, yeah, and also with that, they go... Oh, the voice effect. They go with a more traditional actual hammer, too. And they give it this, like, red and black effect to it, which is pretty cool. I actually like that. I almost wish they kind of did an effect like this with other things, because I feel like you don't see that with other skins very often. Just literally, it's glowing like that kind of red. So, okay, he's giving, like, basically a Dark Paladin, or Dark D&D character. Oh, we actually got some blue in here. They did change things up with this one. I feel like he's going to have the basic recall, though. I just want to see. No. This one actually... Oh my god, this one actually had some stuff going on with it. They did more with the Forsaken Jayce than they did Brighthammer. Debonair Jayce. This looks like an early Debonair concept, though. I don't know how old this one is, because you definitely can see a difference in like some of the Debonairs, like Renata Glask Debonair. Very much like more modern, I feel like, looking. Not bad, though. I mean, it's just Jayce kind of all dressed up, looking nice. The hammer... Hammer's okay. It's looking like kind of smaller than the other hammers, which I feel like is kind of crazy to say. Okay, I think it's okay. Let's move on to the recall, see if it's any different. Oh, even in this one, he's like dancing with the hammer. Oh, all right. The recall was probably the best part of that one for me. And then we have Full Metal Jayce, Full Metal Jacket. If you know, you know. Bring down the hammer. But it's literally just full metal Jayce. Like, it's literally Jayce in just metal armor. Okay. We got, like, a little robotic voice effect, too. So they did a little additional voice effect for this one. Oh, interesting effects on that. It's got, like, all these lines moving around all sporadically. That's kind of cool. Oh. Yeah, the visual effects are pretty cool, too. All right, let's move ahead a little bit, see what's going on with it. They actually did quite a bit with this one. Oh, but the recall... Okay, come on. That's not even a recall. You have to at least give him something. That's pretty... All right, everybody. Of course, in the comments, I always like to hear from you guys. If you have a favorite skin of yours among these for Jayce, please do let me know. I think I'm gonna pick my top 3. I think it's gonna be pretty easy. For the T1 skin, I am picking the T1 skin. I'm gonna pick just the I feel like it's cheating, but I'm gonna pick the Prestige T1 Jayce skin. I do like the original T1 Jayce skin though too. That's really, really good. Next, I'm definitely picking Arcane Survivor Jayce. I think that look in Arcane was so good in general, so I'm definitely going with that. And actually for my third skin, it's a little interesting, but I'm going with Zenith Games because I haven't really seen a Zenith Games skin before. It's a little goofy looking. He just looks like a regular arcade character, but I like all the color effects with this one, the sound effects. The armor obviously isn't my favorite, I guess, but I think everything regarding everything else is really, really cool. And then the recall was good as well. So those are my 3 favorite skins. If you guys have anything to say about it, let me know in the comments, but those are my 3 favorites. Let me know your favorite as well though. Okay, before we dive fully into the wiki, let's take a look at trivia for Jayce in the game. So Jayce, Elise, Gnar, Nidalee, and Kayle are the only champions to be conditionally considered both ranged and melee. Okay, of course with the hammer. Jayce was the 100th released champion. No way. I feel like 100 champions before Jayce was out. I feel like that's kind of crazy. I thought he was like earlier. Jayce's release marks the first champion to have access to 8 abilities, the third champion to have a dedicated recall animation on release, the previous ones being Darius and Draven, the third champion able to start the game with an unlocked ultimate ability, the previous ones were Udyr, Karma, Nidalee, the fourth champion to have access to all 4 abilities at level 1, the others being Elise, Karma, Nidalee, and Udyr. And then Jayce's dance references You Can't Touch This by MC Hammer. That's very fitting. He shares this dance with Malzahar, specifically his Voidling's part. Coincidentally, Mercury Cannon / Hammer can be shortened to MC Hammer. Oh, that's so funny. One of Jayce's Series 2 Eternals Hammer Time also references this. Jayce is titled The Defender of Tomorrow, likely references Superman the Man of Tomorrow. Could see that. And then Jayce was the first champion to have gold-colored spell indicators in his hammer stance. He was the only one to do so until Mel received them. Oh, Mel. Like, that's an actual Mel reference this late. Or like, that's the crazy thing to have until Mel comes out. Wiki time. All right, we have nicknames: the Golden Boy, Pretty Boy, the Hextech Wonder Boy, Poster Boy. Those are all nicknames from like arcane characters. Scratched out is Counselor Talus. Aliases are the Man of Progress, the Defender of Tomorrow, yada yada. It says at death, 31 to 32 years old. Arcane Act 1, 24 to 25 years old. Arcane Act 2 to 6, 31 to 32 years old. They're basically saying in the wiki that he dies during, our scene with him and Victor at the end. I don't want to call it death per se in Arcane. I think something else occurs. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you guys think? Are we starting to give some of our Arcane or League of Legends characters actual deaths? How will that, change future lore for those characters, right? I feel like maybe they won't ever touch Jayce again. Who knows? Okay, so let's see if there's anything new in here. A lot of it's going to be Arcane recap. I know, like I said, whenever we're getting to these Arcane characters, it's a lot of just Arcane recap, but I'm looking for specifically new things that we haven't seen from Arcane. We have already read about his early life. We have the discovery of Hextech, the robbery, Piltover, Bicentennial. This is all going to be repeat, unfortunately, guys. Okay, so yeah, basically all these big paragraphs here in the middle, all Arcane recap, and that's totally fine. So we're going to go straight to legacy, appearance, personality, and just do all of this. Okay, so regarding legacy, after the battle, Jayce's corrupted Mercury hammer would crumble into dust at the top of the Hex Gate, and a demonic raven would arrive to scavenge its remains. Obviously, this is still Arcane, but Jayce was mourned by his mother at the funeral and presumably the rest of Piltover for his sacrifice. Okay, demonic raven, we know, Swain, Rom. Okay. Appearance, Jayce was a tall, muscular, and tanned man with hazel eyes and styled dark brown hair. Jayce was often seen wearing typical Piltover clothing that consisted of a white suit with red pants and a red tie and a black undershirt, and a white tailcoat with red pauldrons on his shoulders, which was a more elegant and expensive outfit while attending formal events or to matters related to his council work. That was a run-on sentence, everybody. In his laboratory, Jayce would often sport a white button-up lab coat with silver buttons and brown leather shoulder pauldrons trimmed with gold, as well as brown gloves, trousers, and boots. That's basically Arcane Jayce skin. When in battle, Jayce would wield a giant hammer made from golden plating as a weapon. On his wrist, Jayce always wore a leather bracelet with a blue runic crystal, which had been given to him by the mage who had saved him as a child. After Jayce's trip through the anomaly, his appearance became noticeably more haggard, growing shaggy facial hair and his runic crystal becoming fused to his skin. His usual suit became dirty and tattered, and he would start wearing a large leather strap over his left shoulder and a metal leg brace fashioned with his broken hammer. Corruption would begin to spread on his arm, which would become worse over time. After returning to his own timeline and taking command of Piltovan forces, Jayce would replace his ruined clothes with a new darker tailcoat with black, gold, and red armor over his chest and shoulders. Okay, this is a kind of a unique situation where we are actually having Jayce's look change because of, things that are occurring in the show. Most of the time when we're looking at appearance for a character, it stays the same. It's not changing. Okay, personality. This one's going to be maybe a little interesting. As an inventor dedicated to improving the lives and welfare of his people, Jayce was a charismatic, idealistic, and visionary man of science. While he was known to be slightly egotistical, right, Jayce often struggled to live up to the lofty image he crafted for himself, repeatedly pushing the boundaries of progress without considering the cost. Jayce was characterized by his confidence, determination, and optimism, but he was also naive to the malefactors who could misuse Hextech, which he had intended to uplift and empower the people of Piltover. Once he realized his invention could be used to inflict suffering, Jayce found himself overwhelmed by the consequences. And since he felt responsible for his discovery, he bravely and selflessly tried to shut the Enterprise down, and he put his own life in danger many times to protect his city. I agree with that. Very egotistical, maybe overconfident, but I don't know. I feel like in that kind of field, if you're trying to make a name for yourself, you kind of need to be a little cocky, right? As a result of his inexperience, though, Jayce felt forced to compromise his ideals for the sake of pragmatism, even having to conform to the corruption of politics when the other counselors began to plot against him, which in my opinion, season 1, Mel kind of manipulated him, or did manipulate him for sure. He would betray his longtime mentor, Heimerdinger, who continued to obstruct research that could save Victor's life. Jayce's failure to find immediate solutions fueled his doubts and caused him to make rash rectifications, even to the point of entering an imprudent conflict with Silco. Ultimately, once he realized his thoughtless actions could endanger innocent Zonites, Jayce pulled back on reckless conflict and returned to his ideals of trying to do good for all. He was not afraid to go against the council's wishes and brokered a peace with Silco without consulting them first, believing without a doubt that this was the right decision. The failure of this deal nearly lost him Victor, after which Jayce blamed himself and withdrew from politics completely. Yeah, nah, let's not get into politics, right? After Jayce traveled to an apocalyptic future, the horrors he had witnessed haunted and traumatized him. He became much more agitated and paranoid than he was before, as his only goal became to prevent what he had seen from coming to fruition. Jayce gradually recovered from his experience in the anomaly as he reconnected with Caitlyn, Mel, and his other allies at home, and he used his determination as a means to rally the people of Piltover and Zon against their annihilation. When he confronted Victor again, he decided not to kill him, but instead reach out to his humanity and remain there so he wouldn't be alone in his final moments. Very good recap, more arcade recap, right? But I think it did kind of explain more about his personality. Basically, Jayce, a little bit egotistical, maybe a little charismatic, but, super idealistic, but like he still was a good person wanting to do good for all. Once he saw that like things weren't going the right way with Hextech and stuff, he eventually was like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be doing all this. We should actually just be making people's lives better. Cool. Okay. Abilities. We're not going to like fully read a lot of these because we kind of get the gist, but for example, abilities, inventor. Obviously Jayce, a very good inventor, knows what he's doing. We've seen him do that in Arcane. Mercury hammer, some Mercury cannon. We know about his weapon, Hextech hammer. We see it in Arcane season 1. I think episode 8, I want to say, is when we finally see the hammer. Acceleration gate. So this is a little interesting. The Talus acceleration gate is a large mechanical device operated from a chair with levers. The energy field is capable of aiming and launching any object at a remarkable speed. Jayce gave an acceleration gate to the Piltover enforcers to help defend the Hex gate, and it was used to launch giant shipping containers at Embessa's forces and Victor's cocoon. We have also diplomacy, his politics, basically. Physical strength, enough said. And then obviously being able to wield that giant hammer around. And then it says visions. After his encounter with the mysterious hooded figure in the apocalyptic future, the mage's will would work within Jayce, and he would receive violent, distorted visions, warning him whenever one of Victor's evolved soldiers were nearby. The visions alerted him about Salo's transformation, as well as the presence of the puppet made from the body of Huck in the rebuilt council chamber. Okay, those are his abilities. Very cool. relationships. Man, it's gonna be a lot of arcane stuff. Here, how about instead of me reading these giant paragraphs, I'm just gonna do it myself. Okay, I'm gonna explain to you guys who probably already know about Jayce's relationships with these people. I'm gonna do my little what do they call them? Cliff notes. Okay, so relationship with Victor. You know, they start off as really good friends. Victor does bad things, Jayce does bad things. They come together in the end, and they stop the bad things from happening. And then we have his mother, typical mother. She just wanted to protect her boy, even when he gets kicked off the council. Like, I remember her trying to protect him from being banned from the city. There you go. Heimerdinger. You know, things start off rocky. They kind of get a little better, but not really. And then they sort of go pretty rocky again. They basically still remember each other fondly, though, is what it says at the end. I agree. Okay, Clan Kierman. Obviously, they were students together at the school. So he's obviously met her parents. But, Caitlyn's parents are like the snobby rich people. So there you go. That's his relationship. Snobby rich people. I don't think liked them very much, but he dealt with them. Him and Caitlyn, very good friends. Obviously, they have a little bit of differences towards the end here with her and Vi. Things start to go a little bit differently, but I think they both enjoyed each other's company and were really good friends. Mel, she manipulates him a little bit in season 1. He has relations with her. And then, he basically, I think they're good overall, but, yeah, that's it. There you go. It's a girlfriend, typical girlfriend, boyfriend relations. Ambessa, he doesn't like Ambessa. She manipulated him. Ambessa, nobody likes Ambessa. She's not good for Jayce. I don't think they work well together. Vi, obviously he didn't like Vi, but then he comes to realize what Vi is fighting for, and they're kind of on the same side for sure. They basically are allies. Silco, Silco and him come to a good decision at the end of season 1, but then things might get messed up because of Jinx. I don't think he truly hates Silco because he sees what Silco is doing for Zaun, and Jayce kind of wants to do the same thing for Piltover. You guys, you know what? I'm doing these cliff notes. You tell me if I'm completely wrong. I'm doing this off of just my own knowledge, okay? Which is kind of funny because the whole point of these videos is so I can learn about these characters and stuff. But for these arcane characters, a lot of it is just coming from the show. So it's a little bit different. Jinx, he hates Jinx. But I think if they were to sit down together and have a legitimate conversation, there would probably be a lot of arguments, but I think they would agree upon some things as well. And then Echo, kind of the same thing. They have a rivalry for sure, but at the end of the day, they still had the same goal of wanting to stop Victor. They're both inventors, so they would have that in common. We get to see their little relationship in the room with Heimerdinger. So I think given enough time, him and Echo, it's kind of like him and Vi or him and any Zaunite. Given enough time, Jayce would understand where they're coming from, and they would actually eventually be friends. I'm not saying good friends or best friends, but I think eventually they would have some things in common. Definitely with Echo, both being inventors. There you go. There's the cliff notes. Instead of reading these giant paragraphs about anything and everything about them in Arcane, we kind of know. Okay, so in terms of content for Jayce, though, we did read his biography, The Defender of Tomorrow. Obviously, if we've seen Arcane, go check out my reactions to Arcane season 2. I didn't have Arcane reaction season 1 on there because I wasn't doing YouTube then. And then the short story, The Council Archives. Okay, that's it. Let's look at the trivia. Jayce signs every page of his notes with his name. He even signs his inventions usually with a J. Victor thinks it's a little egotistical. Well, that's fair enough. House Talus, a family of toolmakers that owns a hammer business, runs a factory producing hammers and other tools popularized by Piltovans, which were said to have significantly contributed to the construction of Piltover. Very cool. And that makes sense why he has a hammer as a weapon, right? Jayce is 24 years old during the first act of Arcane, and is estimated to be 30 to 31 years old in the second, third, and fourth acts. I mean, 24 is young. So anything in season 1, you can just say it's because he's young, right? Jayce's official height is 188 centimeters or 6'2". Jayce made a bracelet with the rune crystal that the mysterious mage gave to him when he was young. It served as Jayce's precious memento and also a reminder of his dream to bring Hextech to the masses. The rune on Jayce's crystal is also called an acceleration rune and would be instrumental in Echo's invention of the Z-Drive. Early in his career as an inventor, Jayce's studies were primarily sponsored by Clan Kierman or Caitlyn's family. Okay, so he dealt with them in that sense. In Legends of Runeterra, Jayce is also shown to have connections to Clan Pharos, with Albus Pharos helping to fund the construction of the Hex Gate. Okay, we're going to get into those soon, the voice lines. In his original lore, Jayce was instead sponsored by Clan Geopara. In his previous canon, Jayce's lore would vary in its depiction of Victor, from a countercultural figure who acted as Jayce's personal foil to a Saturday morning cartoon villain. Jayce and Victor worked together frequently during their days in the academy, but parted ways due to moral and creative differences. Okay, we don't need to get into like the old lore, because that stuff just doesn't count anymore, basically. All right, everybody, time to get into the voice lines. We're gonna do Legends of Runeterra first, and then we'll do the League of Legends ones. Here we go. All right, I'm swapping sides here. Give me one moment. You guys don't see, I'm letting you guys see behind the scenes. Look, I'm gonna switch. Oh my gosh. Okay, we have an actual Skin Spotlights did its own video for Jayce's voice lines in Legends of Runeterra. So thank you. Here we go. It's 5 minutes and 40 seconds long. All Jayce voice lines. I'm excited. Here we go. We got Echo up first.
So, you must be Echo.
Hey, Jayce. We've met before. Kinda.
Oh, very cool. We know the scene. We've seen it in Arcane. That's kind of cool, though.
Gonna teach you some real science, Echo.
Oh boy. I've got to outsmart a dude with a hammer.
Hello, Jayce. Did you figure out how to aim that thing?
Let's just call it a work in progress. Ready for some target practice, Kate?
Mm-hmm. Do
Very
try
cool.
to keep up.
We have seen the
Come on, Kate.
cinematic.
You versus me.
This isn't your wisest decision, old friend.
That's fun.
Ah, the sweet smell of science.
Sure beats the smell of burning workshops.
Eminently logical.
And eminently solvable, Heimer.
I hypothesize their demise.
I question your hypothesis.
Whoa.
The future is steel and science.
Old Victor
The
here.
future is what we make it, Victor.
Ooh.
The time of machines is now.
Victor, enough.
Okay.
Flesh is a weakness we must shed.
If only your ethics were as strong as your conviction.
Okay, interesting voice lines between the two there.
Wrecking crew.
Oh, here we go, Vi.
Yeah, she's not kidding. Trust me.
Oh, complimenting Vi. I like
If
it.
it's not the man of tomorrow.
I prefer Paragon of Progress, thank you.
Paragon of Progress.
Oh, hey, the lab rat came out to play.
Oh, hey, the delinquent got a job.
A mind is nothing without
Well, I gotta pause. That was really funny. See, like, this is the kind of relationship I think Jayce and Vi have. It's just like two people that will just talk trash to each other, but at the end of the day, they have the same goals. They're somewhat friends.
And means are nothing without the mind. How's my
saying the
sky
same
cruiser
thing.
tech working out for you, Elvis?
If
Oh,
I paid for it, isn't it mine?
okay.
If it's a people problem.
Pharaoh's
I'm your man.
financier.
Love me some Reggie.
Some
Hey,
Reggie.
figured out the clutch in that thing yet?
Get on in. You can tell me.
Hey, Rosa, got some new tweaks to the power circuitry.
Great, we're running into heat issues. What you got?
Hey, Axel, got a minute to explain thermodynamics to me?
Cool, so he's just talking shop with people.
Gotta do smart stuff over here.
You can almost hear those cogs turning.
Enemy idol.
It's all right. I can wait. What's the solve?
Okay.
Okay, let's think about this.
Okay, very
Now,
nice.
That's what I call progress. Gonna mark today down as a success. Well, that
That's
could
funny.
have gone better. Hey, it's not testing if there aren't a few failures.
Okay, I kind of like Jayce's humor in Legends of Runeterra. It's interesting because he's not like super funny in the show. He's very serious all the time. So I kind of like the humor coming from Legends of Runeterra for him.
Albus, you wanted to see me?
Yes. I want to see what you're doing with the Pharaoh's fortune.
Ooh, here it is.
Ah, my prize asset.
The Pharaoh's
Kind
fortune.
of you to meet me.
Can't decline an invitation from Albus Pharos.
The people
Albus
will
Pharos
look
is
up
kind of
and
scary. He
marvel
doesn't look
at
scary in
my
his
success.
portrait, but
Well, if it isn't the man of tomorrow.
Hey, back to work if you don't want to be the lady of yesterday.
hey,
What
okay.
you got?
All right, next up is
Let me know
Forge
if you
Worker.
still want them science lessons, Jayce.
That's crazy.
Will do, Axel.
Hey, big man. You ready to get inventing?
All day, every day, Reggie.
All day, every day.
got
Okay, unfortunately, the rest of the video actually doesn't have any Jayce in it. It's more just like random Legends of Runeterra stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the Legends of Runeterra Jayce voice lines. Like I said in these, and you know, it's obviously just a product of them kind of making, I feel like the Legends of Runeterra voice lines, obviously depending on the character though, for sure, I do tend to see them try to be a little bit more jokey with voice lines or what have you, right? And I think, you know, Jayce does have that kind of funny, he thinks he's funny, at least in the Arcane show, but I actually found him to be quite funny in these voice lines or have more of a sense of humor. In the sense that also, I think this is more just like a happier time for Jayce, or this is like super happy Jayce, because in the show, obviously we have a lot of traumatic things happening. We don't have happy Jayce for very long. Maybe he's happy like during parts of season 1, but I think parts of season 2, obviously not so very much at all. Okay, so yeah, so basically that's what I'm getting out of the Legend of Runeterra voice lines. Actually very funny. Honestly, most of his voice lines in this aren't even serious. I think almost every voice line in here was pretty, kind of jokey in a sense. And I think that's how he is with just his friends, right? And I think most of the time here it was his friends, except for, Victor here was kind of when he was a little bit more serious. And Vi, they were just trash talking, but I think that can still be seen as kind of jokey and funny, right? So overall, though, I think these voice lines are really, really good. I'm wondering how they're going to compare to the League of Legends ones, which were done obviously a long time ago. Now, I think those will probably be a little bit more serious, or we'll see if they actually, when they first made Jayce, if they kept him a little bit on the jokey side. So I'm curious to see what's going on with those. Let's go move on to those. All right, seeing as Jayce is a little old, doesn't seem like he has too many voice lines. That's okay. We have the original Full Metal, Forsaken, and Battle Academia versions of his voice lines. Let's dive right into the sound effect. Okay, the hammer.
I fight for a brighter tomorrow.
Okay.
Never look back.
And then his band. All right, let's go straight into the movement voice lines. We have moving.
I'm always ready. Pave the way.
Oh, it's got kind of like that echoey sound that they did with some of the older voice lines.
Powering up. Our future will be bright. Eyes on the horizon. Never look back.
He has kind of like these
Time to make a stand.
heroic hero kind of voice lines, I feel like.
I will light our path.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Never a wrong step. Without fear.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of gave him that like paladin kind of style of voice lines. All right, we have his taunts.
This is what the future looks like.
Him.
Feel free to give up now.
Okay, those are not bad, honestly. All right, what about the joke?
Gotcha.
Oh, Jayce prepares to fire his cannon but shoots out confetti instead.
Did I scare you?
Okay. And then his laughs. It's got kind of a slow laugh. It's interesting. Yeah, very slow laugh. All right, his basic attacks. All right, attacking.
Face the future.
Okay, so obviously we have a lot of like future progress kind of voice
Strength
lines,
through progress.
which is obviously his whole, shtick.
Bring down the hammer.
Bring down the hammer's a good one.
Fully charged. For Piltover.
Okay, it's giving a little bit of Demacia there a little bit.
I'm gonna enjoy this.
Would we say Jayce is the Garen of Piltover? Perhaps. Ability casting. So we have using To the Skies.
To the skies.
The shout's kind of funny. All right, and then using Thundering Blow. Okay, you know what? His grunts and his huffs and shouts, it's not as bad as some of the other ones. Some of them make me like genuinely really laugh, and these are actually like fine, I guess. Using Shock Blast. Watch, I'm gonna say that, and then he's gonna have like an atrocious. Like the grunts are getting there a little bit. And then Missile passing through Acceleration Gate.
Shocking. Electrify. Energize. Accelerate.
These are like voice lines a superhero would say in like a comic book. I mean, they're fine. They work fine. Okay, Empowered Missile through Acceleration Gate hits an enemy.
Power slam. So long. Feel the thunder. Their history.
Okay, these original voice lines for Jayce, they really made him a little cheesy. I mean, I really enjoyed the Legends of Runeterra voice lines. He's a little cheesy in those too, I guess. Jayce has always been a little cheesy, hasn't he? Even in Arcane, like definitely season 1, a little cheesy. Season 2, at the beginning, maybe a little cheesy. But yeah, and then he becomes like Arcane Survivor Jayce, and I feel like that's when he like actually becomes pretty serious, pretty cool. All right, we have Cannon to Hammer.
Transformation complete. Hammer time.
Hammer time, 100% perfect. Hammer to Cannon.
Transformation complete. Cannon engaged.
The way he says that. And then we have his death sounds. Okay, the death sounds, finally got me there. Those were really, really funny. I enjoyed those. All right, let's take a look at some trivia here. We have shocking might be referencing Goldfinger from James Bond. I feel like shocking can just be shocking, but sure. Hammer Time obviously references You Can't Touch This by MC Hammer. Energize might be referencing Star Trek. I could actually see that one because they do say that a decent amount, I think, in Star Trek, if I'm not wrong. In the Turkish localization, Jayce has a unique pick quote, which means Piltover's golden child is ready to fight. Shortly after Champion's release, it was replaced with the translated version of the Global Champion Select voice line.
I fight for a brighter tomorrow.
Okay, so it was just replaced. And then Jayce shares quotes with Echo, which is Never Look Back, and Victor Paved the Way. Very cool that he has the same voice lines with two people that he actually has run-ins with. And then we have, of course, Arcane Survivor Jayce voice lines as well. All right, so honestly, these were fine. I think sometimes when I take a look at some older champions, although he is the 100th champion to be released in League, I think maybe they had their footing a little bit more when it came to voice lines at this point for the 100th champion, because a lot of the voice lines with older champions, I feel like they're a little lackluster or there's not that many. But these, although a lot of them have to do with his abilities and there's just a little bit when it comes to like his moving and attack voice lines, I think they did actually a pretty decent job of like giving him a well-rounded personality with these voice lines, I think, overall. All right, everybody, we're at the point where we're going to try to talk about what we could see from Jayce in the future. And realistically, with the way Arcane ended, right, it's not, I don't know. What are we going to see, right? The only thing, obviously, I could think of us seeing is truly when the League of Legends MMO comes out, if it ever comes out, they could totally do something really cool with like the whole Arcane Piltover Zaun area of the game. I think it'd be interesting to have some sort of Jayce Victor stuff, even just maybe like we get to see Piltover and Zaun after the whole events of Arcane, and maybe there's like a statue built up for like Jayce or Victor, things like that, right? I think voice lines when you talk to some of the characters that were there, stuff like that would be a cool way to like remember those characters. Or maybe somehow we end up having to do a quest for Jayce and Victor that I don't know, some cool stuff happens. But realistically, guys, I think in terms of Jayce for lore, for anything content wise, we're not going to get anything, I don't want to say ever, but maybe ever. So this is kind of almost like a goodbye, Jayce, we're never gonna see you again kind of video, because that's truly I kind of think where he's at. Maybe they'll do, will they do skins for Jayce? Sure, maybe, but I don't know. They haven't done one since these Arcane Survivor skins, right? So truly, this is kind of a send-off for Jayce, I think, with this video. That's why I said the only thing that we could possibly see is the MMO. If you guys have any thoughts about that, please let me know. If there's anything I misconstrued about Jayce in this little video as well, because, I did like some cliff notes during the wiki. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on those eventually. But all right, everybody, if you are new to these videos, or if you haven't heard this yet, what I am doing with the rest of my League of Legends reactions for characters or champions specifically is I am continuing to just go in alphabetical order at this point for ones that we haven't done, because I haven't been hearing much feedback on who I should react to at this point. We've kind of done all of the big ones per se. So I think next up might honestly be Jinx. I'd have to take a look, but yeah, we are in the J's currently for alphabetical. Jinx is gonna be an interesting one regardless. But yeah, so we're gonna continue to do these all alphabetical. So if you're a Zillion fan, unfortunately he's probably gonna be last, I think, or Ziggs. No, I think it'd be Zillion. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's just letting you know when we're gonna get to those champions at some point. All right, thanks again for watching these, guys. I had a blast doing these. I still have a blast doing these. This is been how the channel got started, doing these League of Legends champion reacts and getting into these and deep, diving deep into the actual characters. We're going to continue to do that. I'm sorry I've been a little lackluster on these. I am still trying my best. I have a little bit more time right now. That's why you're probably seeing this one. But yeah, I'm going to continue to do these till we eventually get through every champion. I kind of wish League of Legends released champions more often, but I totally understand, making a character in League of Legends is no easy feat for sure. All right, everybody, thanks again for watching. Please show some love on the video by leaving a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel and checking out other League of Legends content I have here on the channel. I'm sure if you're a League of Legends fan, I'll have at least one video for you to watch or enjoy. It might not be a lore related one. It might just be a reaction to a cinematic that you enjoy or something, right? So please go watch that stuff, and thank you again for watching and supporting the channel. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks again for watching. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. See you later. Adios. Okay, bye.